Next level. Next level.
Good evening and welcome to VCN coverage of the PRT Handicap race. We're just about to get underway with 4 seconds left till the start gun sounds, and a good group of riders off the line this evening. A couple of non-starts there, fortunate to see. Hopefully they'll be able to get back into the mix of things. It's Davidson and Kurt Lang. Unfortunately Kurt's not got moving there. Hopefully Kurt will be back with us. Kurt is now putting out power and moving off the start line. Fortunately, sometimes you don't check that you've got power registering before the gun sounds. You can get caught out a little bit. Kurt's underway now. The riders are flying off at the front of this race, so we're going up to the front now as Kurt seems to be experiencing some more troubles there, perhaps not just a one-off. As you can see at the front of this race, Ian Hurst, followed by A-Rat, The Atkinson, Christensen, Zaplana, Seeger, Adams, Chow, Jordan Twiddy, and then a small gap forming back to BF and W Bass. Still got a tight group here at the front. BF taking a run at the front here with Bass chasing Jones not too far behind. Two riders opening up a short gap. This race is going to be a tale of two halves. We've got most of the climbing towards the front end of this course with a big flat section in the middle. So the lighter riders benefiting from a weight drop due to the handicap. We'll have to put in some serious distance on some of the stronger, more powerful riders who are going the other way from their weight penalty. Looking like we've got 22 IRL riders. Got Will Usher, the coach from PRT, on the chat. The first climb is Barhatch Lane, and it's done in Tour of Britain, and the pros do it in around about 6.5 minutes. And we have got a little descent breaking up the first climb before it gets crazy again, going out to 25%. Will is renowned for putting in these killer climbs in his events. You do need them to make the handicapping work, but yeah, he does like to put them in there and make sure everyone gets their legs really warmed up. W Bass opening up a small lead there of 14 meters on this chasing pack. Pack will be working together over this climb and descent. And this small descent that's here might be enough to bring him back in with a big group descending like this. .21 meters now. We've got a few riders from the Team Lou Racing taking part tonight. We've got Chow in this front group. Just a little bit there. We've got Andy Folks as well, who's also in this group, and A-Rat, who's in here as well, all from Team Lou Racing. Team Lou 2 from the VCN Team Time Trial team. Going to the descent here, and BF leads this chase group. You can see Beer running here as well. Regular rider in the handicap. Cap. So about 65 meters there to the lead rider. That Plana drops out. This first section of ramp is going to go up to around about 16%. Ian Hurst takes the lead of this group, riding his Buffalo bike. Bass now with a lead of 51 meters. Jones, beer run getting dropped by Ian there, who's putting the hammer down. 305 watts there. And gives a nice wave to the camera. And closes that gap down to Bass. No issues at all. Gradient up at 6.5%. Stenson, another rider from Team 3R. Too far behind in Hurst there. Hurst catches Bass. All his early efforts for naught. The overtaken, and the lead pack there is closing down on him. Slope up at 12.2% now. A long way to go for Ian if he's going to go a solo effort. Slope gradually increasing. Bass being reabsorbed by that chase group. Ian enjoying his time on the camera. Moment in the limelight. Steadily increasing his gap there. 37%. Sorry, 37 meter lead. Going up to near 9% on the gradient. Anybody that's watching this out in the real world, we are on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and another number of other platforms, streaming platforms, but you can get back in touch with us via the chat on any one of those platforms. If you send a message through them, they'll all come back into a centralized chat, and I'll read out your message, and if it's a request for information, I'll put it out there, try and answer it for you. Ian just steadily grinds away on this climb. Bass still looks like he's doing the main part of the work on the chase group. And gap going out to 57 meters now. Gradient increasing. There we are with Bass, Atkinson, Rat, BF, and Chow there. And like we've dropped Andy Folks from this group now. That's been a heavy go from the start here. I think Andy's carrying an 11 kilogram weight penalty this evening. Benefited from a good season of training doing the team time trials with Team Lu 2, and brought his FTP up quite considerably. Done a 100-mile charity ride as well. Will's just commenting that it's a long way to stay ahead of a group. We have got another 19.9 kilometers of this race left to go. Only just the early part here. And I'm expecting some of the more powerful riders, like Andy Folks, are going to benefit from the descent and this flat section, and reel in some of these riders that are benefiting from the weight loss given to you by the handicap. just because we may have some of you guys will be bored of me going over it, but because we'll have some new viewers as well. Handicap races, basically they work on a normalized handicap, everyone having 3.2 watts per kilogram. It fluctuates slightly, and the way this is worked out is that you take your recent FTP, you divide that FTP by 3.2, and it will give you your weight in kilograms, and it's important that you do it in kilograms to add in for the weight for this particular event. And that should mean that all the riders there, then will effectively the average should work out at 3.2 at the end of the event. It does fluctuate somewhat during the climbs, and it fluctuates as people may get under race conditions with a potential win on the line. They may put a bit more into it than they would normally on their chosen ramp test, etc. So we see Hurst there going around the corner, and Atkinson close behind. The gap's been closed there somewhat to Ian Hurst from earlier on. I'm going to shout out that Dan Benson is one of those bigger engines who's going to be one to watch when we go onto this flatter section. And also there's Jordan Twitty and I think it's Matt Jones. Go on to this flat section now, and Oystenson putting down a little bit of power. Chow goes back up into 4th position. Ian Hurst sitting pretty at the front of this race, Buffalo by Atkinson in the effort to try and close him down as we're going into the descent now. Minus 3%. Going to have a flick back like Atkinson to make the catch to Hurst here. Atkinson just sitting into that drafting pocket, eases up totally on the power. He is saving like 440 watts there. Feel of Ian, enough to slingshot his avatar past him. We go back. Rat there, Siaga, Chow, Eastonson. Those guys are going to descend together now. It'd be of benefit to descend as a pair. BF and Bass, who did so much work early on, is just struggling now at the back of this lead group. Going to hook back up with BF and straight past him, actually, straight through. And he's going to be up with Oystenson and Chow. Not satisfied. Bass making a storming charge here, keeping his watt per kilogram high and passing people so fast they're not able to jump onto his wheel. See, Siaga and Rat have noticed him coming. See there, Rat's just sped up a little bit on the front. Bass blast past those two as well. He's regaining these positions that he lost on that climb. Distance wrapped by 35 meters there. Continuing up to this lead group of Hurst and Atkinson. And boof, flies through them as well. This is the first time he's eased off the gas on this descent. He's going again. $420 watts. Oh no, a little question mark coming through from race control that potentially this could be a overpowered performance from Bass here. Obviously it's relying on people adjusting their weight correctly to get through these events fairly. I'm going to be looking at the results and checking it out, but I think he is up at 2.4 2.8 watts per kilogram. So I think his averages are going to work out somewhere around the right mark. Auto brakes into that corner. Faster opens up a lead 180 meters over, now chasing Rat and Atkinson. Ian Hurst dropping back slightly, and we're going to quickly drop back through and give a shout out to all the riders taking part. We've got Atkinson, Rat there, BF, Ian Hurst just chilling, Siega, Chow, Jason Chow I should know, Oystenson, Beerun, one of our regulars. Oh, Dan Benson, who's just been given a shout out on the chat that he may be one to watch on this flatter section. Carries a heavy weight penalty, but it's not as much of a disadvantage on the flat. Benson just threw that sharper turn there. Matt Jones, and then back here we've got Davidson, Andy Folks, Ransauer and Zaplana. And Davidson there was delayed at the start. I'm not sure what it was that held them up, but good to see that they got underway and they made good progress to catch up with this group. Must have kicked out some heavy watts early on in the race to manage to catch up. And Ransauer from ECKD, E-Cycle Club Denmark. Big club which used to race, well they still do race on Be Cool, but they've come over in big numbers to RGT. Have been supporting the platform quite a lot with their own race series, and it's looking like next year they may drop Be Cool completely and make a full turnover to RGT. As we saw an interesting roundabout section there, been quite pruned out of the GPX. The GPXs are all added in for from users for these courses that we run in the majority here. Not always perfection. Occasionally there are a few errors that creep in, and perhaps like that might have been a circle round a roundabout that someone's done when they've missed the turn. It just you can go onto a program called GPX Magic, which is run by Peter Ward, and you can go on there and you can remove some erroneous points from your GPXs to make them smoother and easier to ride in the virtual world. You see Jordan Twiddy here with Kurt Lang. Kurt's got back up into this race. Kurt had some significant issues at the beginning of this race, and I'm just giving the shout out that this has already been put through GPX Magic, but didn't catch that nice little bit of waltzer action there. Not a perfect program, unfortunately, but it's difficult sometimes with GPX what actually you should prune. An automatic program can't always pick out what was really supposed to be there. What's an unusual feature? You get things like Paterberg that would be, potentially ripped out by an automated program, but you wouldn't want that happening. So we've got Jordan Twiddy, Kurt Lang here. Jordan a little bit further down the running order than we maybe have expected, but he's doing quite a lot of training at the moment, so might not have the legs for it tonight, or he might have been given coach's orders to take it easy. Got some bots here, and checking down the race order, we've got Adams here in 30th position. Stuart, we'll check with Bass in a moment, see what numbers he's doing. He's doing big watts, but his watts per kilogram aren't massive, so I think he's carrying quite a big weight penalty. We'll go and have a look at him in a moment. He was only doing sort of 2.8, 2.9 on the flat sections. Jordan Twiddy, just getting the information that he's been a little bit under the weather and he's just coming back into the racing form. So I hope that his recovery continues. After he'd had such a good result from his marathon run. Checking back, we've got Bev Usher there. 51st position. Bev races a lot on the PRT Handicap races, and you can also see him frequently in the Team Lou races, well, Team Lou group rides on the Saturdays and Sundays at 3 o'clock UK time. And we've got Dominguez, 52nd position. And a little bit further back, we've got Gail, who's a regular on the PRT Handicap races. Just for those who are all over the world, it's at 7 PM UK time. Fly back up to the front, see how the front end of the race is going. But Bass is still kicking out pretty high numbers. He's up at 480 watts here, going under the halfway marker there. 455. But at 3 watts per kilogram. Oh. So I think that works out that his weight in the game is around about 148 kilograms. Which I was like pretty heavy weight. But you know, we do review these performances after the event, and we hope that everyone's adhering to the handicap. That's what the race is for. Yeah, wow, 148 kilograms. I'm questioning it. I'm thinking maybe I've got my maths wrong on that, but it was just caught him doing 448 there, and it's at 3 watts per kilogram. So I think that does work out at 148 kilograms. Try and get on the RGTDB in a moment. If you hear me going quiet, it's because I'm trying to see if Bass has done any other events and where he's been ranking. Don't like to draw anyone's performances into question, just like for it to be a fair event. So lots of different riders from all over the world taking part in these events, and you know, you've got some really good amateur riders and semi-pro riders taking part. I believe it's been rumoured that there are a number of pro riders taking part in events on RGT and aliases, but I've not had that confirmed, but it's not a bad thing. So we drop down the pack there behind. We've got Rat, Atkinson and BF working together. They've managed the distance. Beer Run, who's been doing quite well in the previous races, previous handicap race has been really smashing it out. Bit of humorous chat going on. Stuart's just commenting at how did he get up the hills, and position coaching's come back with crampons, which just made me laugh. Sorry. But we've got Rat, Atkinson and BF here smashing out, and Atkinson just momentarily dropped back there. I'm not sure if there's a small glitch in the road or the program in there. Just mention, you may have seen some riders down the left hand side of the road, the left hand side of the screen as we're looking at it, that are not on a road. The reason for that is that RGT optimizes the scenery so that it appears in a virtual bubble around the rider that you are viewing. So we're looking at Atkinson at the moment, for instance. The scenery will be created around Atkinson. I think it's for around about 1.5 kilometers. The riders behind, if we were viewing those, they would be on the road. To save processing power, RGT doesn't generate all of the scenery for the other riders. That we can see their avatar, but we don't see all of the scenery that goes with that. See that the group behind there is 500 meters back. We've got Bieran, Christensen, Chow, and Siega all racing together. Got a real job on their hands here to work together for the remaining section of this flat to try and overhaul that 500 meter lead that those riders have got. Stuart Featherstone just commenting that he'd love to have Bass on his team time trial team. He'd get some draft off him. Benson now giving chase to that group up ahead. 275 meters left to close before he gets to the base of this climb. Right. Yeah. Information's just coming back in that Bass works out having an FTP of around 456 watts, which is some serious horsepower. And figures I can only dream of. So Bass, relatively new rider to the RGT world. They're a silver class rider. We do have gradings on RGTDB. If you're not aware of it, sorry, there's a fantastic website that runs alongside RGT. It's an independent website, rgtdb.com, and they have loads of information on riders there. They have races. You can go onto there to pick up magic roads of any places that you've looking that you've done and you're like to go to again. Andy folks there giving a big shout out to us. If you've done any of the races like this race, for example, you can go back onto RGTDB and pick up this magic road code to have it into your own library. But I'm just seeing that Bass is actually leading the 2-lap dash challenge. That is from this month, runs until June 22nd. They also won the Viva Italia Tuscany challenge. Results up on that one, so their name appears to be Votek Bass. Davidson. Yep, they finished first on the Viva Italia event with 822 riders took place in that event, so pretty good riding. Beat Daniel Cadiz, who was the Colombian time trial, national time trial champion for a country, which I should know. Rides for Team Draft. Chilean national time trial champion. So really good riding. Back to the event that we're on though. Davidson in 11th position, good riding from them, and we've got Ian Hurst who's just gradually drifting down the grouping on this flatter section. Expect that Ian will recover a couple of places as we hit this next incline. Ian, I think, is generally one of the lighter riders. Ansauer, Jones, and Zaplana down to 15th position, with Martinez, who I have managed to miss on the last run through, and then we've got Jordan Twitty and Kurt Lang. Go back up to the front of the race. The Bass there, heading into these inclines. Its power is maxing out roughly around about 3.2 watts per kilogram. Is at 10% here. Out 480 watts. Behind him we've got Rat and Davidson. Sorry, Rat and Atkinson. Biaf. Chow. And then we've got Benson, Siega and Bieran. Benson's made a little bit of progress there and pulled back a few places. Siega slightly there. And the That's there on the lead, but the riders behind benefiting probably from the handicap are covering space on him on this climb. David Atkinson here really pushing on, dropping Rat. Rat in 3rd position. Bass holding a distance around about 180 meters. Looking like Bass may well have this race sewn up here. We're going into the steeper sections of the climb and he's maintaining a gap over Atkinson. 180, 181. Atkinson deep, still not able to close that gap. Will's just been having a little bit more of a look through Bass's numbers, and given his FTP is looking at 456, you're working it backwards that this race is going to be about 45 minutes duration, then it should be quite achievable for him to hit those numbers in a less than hour duration race. I think it's going to be a pretty decisive win for Bass at the front, with a good chase from Atkinson and Rat. Jason Chow not giving up, and BF just on his wheel as well. BF made contact with Chow there. Chow just digging a little bit deeper and trying to pull away. Benson working hard on this climb. He's got another descent. Can stay in contact with these two. He'll probably overhaul them on the descent, Benson. I'll try and cover that. There's also awards for the most combative rider that's given out in this event. If you've got any thoughts on who that could be after you've seen some of these performances, and you've got to give some love out to Davidson for making it up into 10th position from a false start, and also Lang, who's really recovered some good spots. Christensen just slowing slightly on this climb, allowing Davidson to possibly look to pick another place up here. Bass closing in on the last section of climbing. Hurst and Andy Folks both riding their Buffalo bikes. So shout out that Bass, Lang and Davidson are looking like they're in line for a combativity award here. And a bit of love shown for Ian Hurst as well. You've got to get your votes in. Anybody that you've seen that you think's worthy of a combativity award, get their name out on the stream. Give them a shout out. Zaplana battling with Jones there, 13th and 14th position. Rantzauer just back of this group. No drafting benefit here for Rantzauer on inclines of this sort of a percentage. Don't get much benefit. Speeds are too low. Bass coming up to the top of the last section of climbing, and this will almost certainly ensure his victory. We're getting to the top of this climb first. I think he has just painted a target on his back for the rest of these races for this year. Such a phenomenal performance. Over the top of this climb to enjoy descent. Off victory in the distance. Not letting up on the descents. Pushing all the way through. Andy Folks giving a shout out for Andre and Joe Jarvis. Barry's just shouting out his Bass a pro rider. He's got awesome power. He has got awesome power. We don't know too much about him, Barry. Was just talking about the fact that I believe there have been rumours that there are some pro riders taking part in RGT under pseudonyms. Not sure whether Bass is that, but certainly showing fantastic numbers. If he isn't pro, then Cycling World missed out. Certainly a serious amount of watts to be putting out for the duration of this race. Yeah. Yeah, the power line from Bass is fairly flat, but it leading me to think he's got more adjusted the slope intensity of the turbo trainer rather than anything going wrong with it. Is looking like the watts per kilogram has been done correctly to the handicapping. Comes down and round into the last few bends of this course with a 1 kilometre lead. That descent really opened up a huge lead for Bass coming over it first like that. Yeah, Barry, it looks like he is applying the handicap correctly. His weight, if we've worked it out correctly, is working out 148 kilograms, which is huge. It's like 2 of me. As you come through, you're going to fly through this tent, an extra handicap, and burst for the line. Bass comes over in a very convincing first position. We'll drop back now to Atkinson. Atkinson now managed to open up a gap of 820 meters on Rat just behind. Just zoom in a moment there, you can see the numbers on Atkinson's Wahoo Bolt computer. I just zoom in on that because it has been mentioned just recently in the chat that people have noticed the computer being added. It's always been there, that computer. Not something that you often notice, and I think once the takeover with Wahoo was done, people spotted it. There's also been mention of the gear changing. Don't know whether Atkinson's going to show us some of that, but the avatars have been just flicking the fingers out and changing the gears for some time now. Benson and BF are having a battle further back down the course. Be able to cover that. See Atkinson coming through now. 160 meters left to go. These lead riders did manage to open up quite some gaps on the riders behind. That's Atkinson through line, time of 44 minutes and 44 seconds as Rat comes over, 3rd position. A little bit of battle going on behind with Benson, BF and Jarvis Chow. watching Rat come over the line. Rat just cruises to the line. Third position. And Benson now managed to shake free of BF. And Jarvis Chow as well. Jarvis been dropped slightly by. Next rider now on BF. There's 200 meters back to BF, and then another further 180 meters back to Jarvis. Benson comes over the line in a very respectable fourth position. Made quite some inroads. BF in fifth. Jarvis Chow. Over in sixth position. Deerun, seventh. Regular of these handicap races. I'm in seventh position. Tiega rounding out this early lead group comes over 8th position. And we've Davidson and Oystenson just behind them, having a little bit of a battle now. Oystenson just overtaking Davidson. Oystenson just it's very close there. Oystenson just pipping Davidson to the line. Davidson had Ian Hurst coming over there in 11th position. Fantastic ride from him. Davidson had a little bit of trouble getting off the line this evening. Don't know whether they had connector issues, but they were late taking off, so they had a handicap already from the beginning. They made great positions up to get back to where they were in the race. The Andy folks coming through in 12th position now. Good showing from Team Lou Racing. Andy comes over in 12th position. Matt Jones and Zap Lana still battling. Ian's just giving a shout out on the chat there to Will, saying thanks for organising. Jones just managing to ease away from Zaplana. Zaplana's power bar there reducing, like he's conceded that position to Jones. Jones through the road furniture, takes 13th position with Zaplana through for 14th. Not too far behind, we've got Ransauer. Rolling over the line. And then we've got Kurt Lang. Fantastic ride from Kurt here. 16th position, not a terribly high position, but when you consider that they had a real poor start to the event, they'd had a power outage, got going, and then seemed to be dropping power again. Did really well just to stick with it and persevere. Dropping back now, more real riders on the road. Jordan Twitty. No problem for doing the commentary. Just a shout out to PRT Rewards. These races are brought to you with the help of PRT Rewards, prt-rewards.co.uk. If you're looking for any new equipment, any supplements, any gels or anything like that, then head over to the website and you can get some discount codes for free on some of the best equipment that's out there. And it's all equipment that's been tested by PRT, so you can be assured that it's going to be good stuff and it's the reliable, does what it says on the tin. They've already tested these products and are happy with how they work. So consumer testing for you, and you get it cheaper. Jordan Twitty coming over 48th position. Jordan returning from a bit of illness, but is still putting out a great performance and keeps on pushing, getting those miles in whilst he's recovering. Just saw Jordan there flicking the gears. Avatars, as I say, I've been doing that for some time, but when you're in the heat of a race, it's not always something that you notice. And Jordan just opened the power slightly as we're coming up to the finish line now. Only 560 meters left to go. He'll definitely come in under the hour. Round and under the start finish line, over 53 minutes. Adams (640 meters left to go). There's a battle behind happening between Martinez and Dominguez. Like it's going to be a tight finish between the pair of those. Hey Christophe, bonjour. Adams comes through 53rd position. Sprint for the line. Drop back to Dominguez and Martinez. Too far behind, we've got Bev Usher. Bev's still pushing. I think he's left it a bit late to overhaul these two riders as Dominguez just comes down the slope and opens up the gap on Martinez. No problem, Christoph. It's good to see that you're watching. I hope you're keeping up the good riding. As Dominguez comes over in 54th position. And Martinez been battling hard in 55th, and good racing here from Bev, and over in 56th position and making it through in under the hour. Gail from PRT, 1.8 kilometers left to go. Final bit of climbing on the course, 5% at the moment. Right, and I think the Canyon Air Road in white with the disc brakes. Most new bikes being supplied with disc brakes now. A bit older and perhaps wrong in my opinion. I'm not a big fan of disc brakes. And I also hate the squeal. I like to be quiet. I would think if you're buying a new bike now, and even if you're looking at wheel sets, there isn't a great deal of choice when you come to the rim brake options anymore. I'm just too old and set in my ways. Barry's shouting out that Gail's rivaling Kate. Kate is Kate Ouellette, who is a crazy friend who does some really long endurance rides. Just took part in the Unbound Gravel XL. She has a habit, coming from a mountain biking world, to ride with a fairly slow cadence. She's trying to practice it and up a cadence, but not quite managing it yet. And Kate will be probably on the next stream with me because she's coming to the UK to visit some friends. So next week she may well be doing some guest commentary. I'll put her in the commentary chair and I'll do the camera, and she can keep you guys entertained. I'm sure you'll enjoy listening to her voice for a change instead of mine. I'll feed her full of coffee so it'll be relentless. Gail now, 230 meters left to go. So some of these road artifacts have been placed here on the basis of the road being on the other side, and still remaining here because we've got riders on the other side which make them active. Gail flies up and over the line and manages to make it through and under the hour. Fantastic riding. And that's all the live riders over the line. Hope you've enjoyed the stream, and I hope you'll be tuning in next week. We're live every Thursday night, 7 PM. We do have other streams running through the week, so I encourage you to check out the VCN Facebook page. And if you're watching on YouTube, then liking and subscribing, hit that notification button. You'll find out when we're next live. Go back to my avatar, slowly chugging along, and we're going to play you out with the PRT rewards flyer. And as I say, encourage you guys to go over there and check out the Precision rewards, see what you can get cheap. Have a great week, have a great weekend that's nearly upon us, and I hope that the weather stays nice for everybody and you get some real life riding in as well as some virtual. Have a good weekend, everybody.